I just recently discovered this YouTuber, Raymond, and he has this perfect video where he discuss uh, the frustrations guys go through. And it's all the gaslighting. You'll notice this is all about men being gaslit, right? So I'm going to start it up and we'll see what he has to say. Everything he says is pretty well 100% true, and we will talk about it.
I got from this article was basically be hot and have a cheeseburger.
Oh, sorry. Let's start at the beginning. No, that's about as there we are.
The only thing I got from this article was basically be hot and have a cheeseburger with you at all times.
Now that's the face of frustration right there.
Sometimes, oh my God, do you guys remember the Verhoeven movie from the 80s, Total Recall? Not the 2012 version with the Irishman from In Bruges, but the one with Schwarzenegger and that other broad where they're falling down the hill on Mars at the end of it, and they're both like their faces are exploding because they're trying to grasp for air and they can't do it. And they're like that, and their faces are just blowing up and getting all puffy, and then they pop, and that's the end of it. That's how I feel most days, and especially
And this is what we got to start curing, right? We've got to get the message out there, because if a guy keeps going, it's just going to end up suffering some kind of mental breakdown, right?
especially on days when my algo, we'll just call it my friendly neighborhood NSA algo. That's what we're going to start calling it, by the way. Feeds me a title
Okay, you got a cool black mug, and I'm drinking out of a Christmas mug. That tells the difference between us two right there.
from the the uh, the Wellspring Eternal AOL American Online. You've got mail, baby. And here's one for you: how to hit on someone in real life without being a creep. And this is written by Olivia Petter.
Yeah, it's going to be anti-male, Raymond. It's going to be anti-male. What you don't understand, and I'm going to repeat this constantly. My man Eric Sheedler always says women get married knowing they're going to get divorced. They're not interested in us guys. And once you understand that, there's no reason for you to be frustrated. You understand all the gaslighting.
I'm sure she's petted her fair share of petters. How to hit on someone in real life without being a creep. The question for men for the ages. Timeless. A timeless mystery. How does one manage to relay your sexual interest in another human being without being a quote unquote creep?
I'm going to translate this for you, Ray. What they're saying is, how do you successfully what do you employ your resume for the job? There are no relationships between men and women. The men serve, right? So
I Let's give her a fair shake, boys. Let's give her a fair shake. Okay, here we go. 1950s pinup girl, Mr. Perfect Hair, Norman Rockwell. Now we've grown so accustomed to dating apps, trying to meet someone the old-fashioned way can feel like totally foreign territory. I,
translation, she wants something more than a hookup, right? That's what it is.
I hate it here. I hate it here. If you're single, chances are you've been trying to get off the apps for a while. These days, dating app fatigue is a well-worn and much discussed phenomenon. Perhaps it's only a matter of time until it becomes
Fatigue. In other words, she's bored. right? Now, another thing my man Eric says, Raymond, is women have no inner life. It's all about the new next thing. So she's bored with dating apps. She wants to mix it up a bit. That's all that's going on here.
A recognized psychiatric disorder. Oh my God. All right, what? I have to know what that link goes to. Inside my happy divorce, how I left the man I loved but could no longer live with. Oh, go F yourself, lady.
Good expression. That's right. She doesn't love this guy. She never did. And that can be said pretty well about every wife out there that has ever been. The man is there to serve. He served as well as he could. She's ready to move on. That's it.
First person. That's the link to Until It Becomes a Recognized Psychiatric Disorder is an article called Inside My Happy Divorce. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me.
Not me. This I'm not surprised at all, Ray. I expected this 100%.
Novelist Jane Green. That's the link that they hyperlink at Until It Becomes a Recognized Psychiatric Disorder. A link to an article that I'm sure is a sales funnel to a divorce attorney. Oh my God. I did not realize that would be that heinously blatant and on the nose.
Hey, it makes it like again, Ray, none of this shocks me. I'm going to repeat this again. Women get married knowing that they're going to get divorced. We're temporary servants. I hired my butler about 5 years ago, and I don't need him anymore. So I'm going to toss him aside.
Oh my God. That's wow. I, okay. Okay. The face I was making at the beginning of this video absolutely still applies. But
I used to feel like you, yeah.
what happens after you triumphantly delete Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder from your phone and you're suddenly slung back into the real world? It's not, yeah, because we're all getting so much action on Hinge, Bumble, and Tinder. This article is not written for men. I know that. Functionally, logically, I know that. This
Yeah, not too many guys actually use Tumblr.
article is not written for men. It's not
Or sorry, Bumble, Tinder. Yeah.
exactly easy to meet people out and about or in the wild, as is common parlance today, which in itself perhaps indicates how feral modern dating has become. What is there's like a term for reintroduction of a domesticated animal into nature. It's like referalization or something like that. It's like how basically dogs become wolves again, or the reverse of it, or something. The fact that they keep trying to insert feral into the lexicon is should be indicative of all you need to know. I
Well, that's what they think of us guys, right? We're not human beings to interact with. We're wild animals. And what's really going on here is that in the past, it wasn't considered wild by women because they wanted a man badly as a servant, not as a human being, not as a partner, but as a servant. Now they're not interested. They're not that interested in servants, right? So that's why they're now saying, oh, it's changed, right?
Diogenes was right, and he was onto something when he was flinging his turds and just rosy palming it out in public. If it was easy, the apps wouldn't be popular in the first place. They're not popular. They're not working. Nothing is working for anyone.
I got to correct you here, Ray. You're wrong. It works for women. That's who uses it and who, you know, gains from it. When you say it's not working for anyone, you mean it's not working for us guys.
Oh, wait, I forgot. This isn't written for the vast majority of men that you deem as not people.
Okay, sorry, you do got it. You do have it.
Miss Petters, Olivia, Olivia Petters. I had a friend in college named Olivia. She was a redhead. God, she was gorgeous. I'm pretty sure she thought I was gay. And yes, I helped her move her bed. Oh,
Don't feel too bad. We've all been there, done that. We all, put out our bribes, right? Other guys would call it simping, but that's what relationships are. That's it's we're all putting our bribes out, right?
oh. But now we've grown so accustomed to them that trying to meet people the old fashioned way can feel like totally foreign territory. Like, totally, oh my God. It's something all of us should be trying, though, regardless of whether or not we still have the apps on our phones. Being more open to having meaningful interactions with strangers can widen more than our dating pool. Even if you don't end up in a relationship with the person, they might be able to introduce you to a whole new network of singletons.
There you go. See, it's more servitude, right? Even though you don't like this guy, he might introduce her to another social circle, right? It's other women she's actually wanting to meet. That's what a social circle is.
Do you remember that song by Not a Surf? Popular. Don't worry. Tell Johnny how you feel about him. Tell him you want to date him for a month and then go steady with three other people at the same time. He'll understand. You'll be the most popular girl in the school. I'm telling you, they pre-programmed society decades in advance. Decades in advance. Yuri Gagarin was right.
No, no, this isn't programming. Raymond, this is the way the gals have always been. This is something you've got to wipe out of your mind. This is not programming. It's just that the mask is off. You're seeing the gals as they really are.
Or not Gagarin, but Yuri Bezmenov. Yuri Gagarin was the first person in space. Yuri Bezmenov was right. And now I'm going to I should have just kept going with the Gagarin thing and gotten the comments. But Yuri Bezmenov was right. The Soviets had us in the 50s. They had us absolutely by the balls in the 50s. Being more open to having meaningful interactions with strangers can widen more than our dating pool. Even if you don't end up in a relationship with the person, they might be able to introduce you to a whole new network of singletons. Not to mention, like, totally HR from Deloitte, who I can go apply to and, like, teehee, go get my matcha super kappa fracca latte, fracky latte all day long at the tech job. Plus, it's worth remembering that only around 10% of people in committed relationships or marriages met their partners on dating apps. What? According to the Pew Research Center in 2023, no, that is not true. Absolutely not true. There is no way that's true. Pew Research Center data from 2023 indicates that 10% of people in committed relationships or marriages. Okay, so there's the caveat. They said 10% of people in committed relationships or marriages, not dating, not.
There's something else you're missing. There's no such thing as committed relationship, committed marriage. You're going to admit that like 60% of people divorce. So there's no commitment there.
Casual hookups. And we both know that the vast majority of people having relations, intersexual dynamics, whatever you want to call it, the vast majority of people getting together are not in committed relationships. Women themselves are saying they would much rather just share a really hot guy. You're doing it to yourselves, ladies.
No, this is something. Thank you for admitting this. This has always been so. They'd rather, that's why harems existed. Women would rather be with one high status man. Period. Right. They share one guy. It's always been that way. And that's why it was a joke, Ray, in the 60s, second wave feminism, when they tried to say, oh, we're going to break all these rules, all these gender roles. Well, 60 years later, and there hasn't been one broken yet, right? So let's back up just a sec here.
Saying they would much rather just share a really hot guy. You're doing it to yourselves, ladies.
What do you mean by that?
You're doing it to yourselves. It's worth remembering that only about 10% of people in committed relationships or marriages met their partner on dating app site. Is that, how are they getting that? Because is it, okay, here we go. Let's look at the Pew Research. LGB adults. There's 2 women. This is not about straight relationships. Tinder, Match, Bumble, OkCupid. Oh, they're 31%. Is this just for LGBs? Okay, for narrative's sake, I'll take their word for it, but you have to remember they're putting some very specific language in that sentence. Marriages, relationships, partner. We're not talking about people who are actually having fun, hookups, which is really the only reason that anybody is dating. As for how to go about it, well, that's where.
Well, not anybody. You would want a partner, right? That's why you want dated. It wasn't for you just to hook up, right, Ray? Most guys want a permanent partner so they could stop bothering with this shit.
Things get a little more complicated. One wrong look or remark, and your approach can easily be misconstrued. Or if you're just normal looking like me, there's nothing wrong with the way I look.
I agree. You're a typical looking guy. That's why, Ray, I can't stand these black pillars that go on about sub fives.
Which could ruin your chances entirely and risk being written off as creepy depending on how much the other person fancies you. Oh, look, she actually comes out and freaking admits it. Written off as creepy depending on how much the other person fancies you, aka how attractive you are to the other person. And also how badly you messed it up. Yeah, because the super hot guy with the perfect hair, if he just bumbles around, he's an adorable oof. But if I mess up and trip and fall, it's like, ew, gross. Why is this homeless person trying to interact with me? Get it right, however, and you could wind up finding the love of your life. In short, the stakes are high. You women aren't looking for the love of your life. Your habits are not bearing out that at all.
Agreed. That should tell you something, Ray. Is that they're lying about a partner. They're not looking for a partner. When they say partner, they mean temporary servant. That's what they mean.
All you're all alone. You all have children from men that don't want anything to do with you.
Wrong. They're all having children from men that they don't want to have anything to do with. This is where you're getting it wrong, Ray. These women are single because they prefer it that way. They're not interested in the man.
I I'm sorry. This fantasy that you're weaving here is tacitly untrue. This brings me to the first step for hitting on someone. Read the room. You can tell if someone is open to conversation or just lost in their own world and preoccupied, in a rush or even grumpy by paying attention to their body language, says dating coach Sophie Personi. Let's see what Sophie Personi is like. Yeah, you are a dating coach. Okay.
Yeah, she's a looker. She can pick up a guy whenever she feels like it. Right.
Okay. Are you single? Let me guess. She's not going to let that. She's not going to let that go. Is she married? Oh, she split up from her husband.
There you go. There you go, Ray. Her husband was a temporary relationship. It wasn't a partnership, it was a relationship. He was a servant to her. She eventually got tired of him. So it doesn't matter if he's good looking or not. Eventually, the women ditched them, right? Let me point something out to you. You know how they used to say, elderly couples, one of them dies, right? If the wife dies, the man has about 2 years and he's gone. He's devastated. He lasts on the average 2 years. If the husband dies, the wife lasts about 10. You know why? Because she wasn't interested. She didn't really give a shit about the man. So I've heard elderly women say, "Oh, it's nice to have the bed all to myself now." Of course, they would gaslight, right? Because women don't want to admit that romance is bullshit, right? They don't want to admit. They'll say women are just tougher. That's why we last longer. They don't want to admit that they didn't feel like they lost anything. There was a bit of sorrow, and then it ended, and they got on with their lives, no problem. Just like Sophie here. She ditched her man, whether it's divorce or death, it's the same attitude.
Shocker. The easiest thing to do if you're unsure is to make eye contact and smile. Just make eye contact, bro. Like I've said many times, I have told a story about the last time I thought I was making eye contact with someone about 10 years younger than me in Walmart shopping. We ended up in the same aisle looking at the same things over the course of 15 to 20 minutes. And I thought she was looking right at me. I made eye contact. She was looking through me. She wasn't looking at me. And the look of terror on her face when she realized I was acknowledging her existence.
Good. I'm glad you're admitting that. Women aren't interested in us guys, right? We want to be with them. They don't want to be with us. That's it. You don't have to be frustrated anymore, Ray, if you just come to terms with that.
I just, I, it, I don't understand why they keep acting like normal people are hooking up and interacting together.
You mean why they're lying? Because they have nothing to lose by lying.
I, I just help me understand this.
Sure thing. Women don't like men. Now you understand, right?
There is no harm in that. And you know from their response if their interest is in having a conversation or would rather be left alone. Okay, so what happens when all of them would rather be left alone? In an ideal world, the object of your affection will smile back and a meet cute will ensue that you can retell to relatives and friends ad nauseum at the wedding. That is a sentence written by a woman for a woman.
Right. Right. These are just stories to tell their friends and their family. You're not a human being. This is all about them.
That is absolutely a sentence. Okay, let's see what Olivia looks like. Olivia Petter. Let's see. What does she look like?
She's a looker.
She's a journalist. She's a journalist, guys. See her Instagram.
No, she's not really working for a living. Let's put it that way.
Come on.
Oh yeah, she's a looker.
Yeah, you're getting up there. Oh, yep, she's a party girl. Oh, yeah.
What do you mean she's getting up there? She's very young, and even when if she gets supposedly too old to get a guy. She doesn't care. Women don't give a shit about, look, Raymond. Cat ladies are cat ladies because they love cats, not because they couldn't get a guy.
Yeah, you're going to be single at 60.
Yeah, but she prefers it that way. Ray, that's why I mentioned about the old age, how widowed women end up lasting 10 years or more. Because they never gave a shit about their husbands in the first place. Matter of fact, I did a video about gray divorces, which means women divorcing after retirement. Once the man's income became fixed and she realized he wasn't going to be earning anymore, she dumped him, right? The man was there to serve. Like, why? I hope you don't want to be in a relationship because that's what the relationship is.
Millennial love, gold rush. I
Notice she's a party girl, but she's with other friends. Why? Because women want the company of other women. This is something guys really have to come to terms with, right?
you almost look exactly like you would expect you to look. I'm all right. Where did we?
Hot, young, single, having a great time. Yep, that's exactly what I expected her to be.
A meet cute would ensue. But if that doesn't happen and you get even the slightest instinct that the other person is not interested, walk away. This isn't rejection. This is just bad timing. 8 years of bad timing? Oh, more like 15, because the break in the dry spell was because a woman I went to high school with looked me up 10 years later. Don't force an interaction. Context is also key. What is the person you want to approach doing? Do they look like they're in a position where they have time and space to talk to someone they don't know? If they look as if they might be rushing to work or late for an appointment, they aren't going to be approachable.
She's saying, "Look, you lower caste, don't approach me unless I feel like it, unless I'm ready." Right? If women liked Man Ray, these articles wouldn't be written like this. They wouldn't be written at all.
Says dating coach James Priest. Okay, we took advice from James Priest, at least a man. Let's see what he looks like. Online dating coach. One photo of actually you. The rest is basically AI photo. Oh my God. Harley Quinn photo looking right there. I do it at a time when they're likely to be most receptive, such as browsing in the supermarket. That is literally that's the only place I go to interact with other people is at the supermarket. Literally the only place I interact with other people is at the supermarket. Waiting in line or reading a book in the park. Yeah, all things I have attempted to do. Weekends are best for this, as single people are more likely to be chilling on their own than with a partner. Wait a minute. I thought they were single.
You're getting it now.
I Are they single or are they not single? Oh, wait, I forgot. Women are always single. Oh, wait, no. They're always in a relationship, even when they're not. One of the
What she just admitted to you is that women aren't faithful to their husbands or their boyfriends. You say if you're someone she likes to bang, she's going to be spreading her legs for you. Or to be more honest, you're going to be cramming for her. You're not going to be banging her. She's going to be banging you. That's what she just admitted.
first black pill things I ever learned. One of the first black pill things I ever learned. I remembered it was like 2013, the first couple months I was in New York City. You learn real fast that the woman who's sitting alone at a coffee shop or bar, she always has a boyfriend. Always. She's always waiting for someone. Always. No exceptions. Absolutely no exceptions. Once you're successfully approached, your next dilemma is working out what to say. Again, high stakes.
She always has a boyfriend or she's not interested. Right.
Say something too boring and you'll have to fight harder for their attention, which could work against you. Then again, say something that they're not in the right mood to hear. And
By the way, Ray, women can be as boring as fuck and they still get guys. Right. Again, I'm just telling you over and over again. Guys want to be with women, so we'll get together with them even if they're boring as shit or if they're even sub five themselves.
well, you become a pithy anecdote they'll regale on their next good date. Yeah, come on. Do you want us to fucking try or not?
Yes, they do. They love this. This is what you call sadism, Ray. The dating scene is sadism. Women get off on this. Why do you think so many women show some interest to some guy, get him hooked, and then she ghost him? Because the interactions are just an enjoyment for them, right? It's to reel a guy in so she can enjoy rejecting them. They're not interested in being with the man in the first place, right? You've got to recognize the sadism in the dating scene.
It goes without saying, but leave cheesy chat up lines at the door. Sure, sometimes they're cute, but other times they're a symptom of a problematic pickup culture.
Oh, by the way, and when she says pithy, what she means is when she gets with a guy that she has some interest in, she'll be telling him the story about this loser who came onto her and made her like shiver.
I, no one is picking up anybody else. You're literally arranging sexual intercourse on apps and then going to that person's house, doing the deed, and going home. That's what's going on. There's no meet cute happening in the world. Sure, sometimes they're cute, but other times they're just a symptom of a problematic pickup culture you need to stay very far away from when trying to flirt with a stranger. With this in mind, it's probably best to avoid them completely. The easiest way to start a conversation with a stranger is simply to ask a question. Something like asking for directions or asking what they think about something good on nearby. Going on nearby will work wonders. Don't overthink it. Just act as if that.
In other words, don't show that you're interested right off the bat, right? Because women do not like men. So if you're a guy who says, "Hey, I'm interested in you," she'll shut you down immediately.
Just act as if there's someone you already know well. Open-ended discussions work best. I have done that over and
Yeah, lie to them, right? Relationships are anti-truth, Ray. So you look like a kind of guy who appreciates and values truth, which means relationships will always be poisonous to you. They'll always be poisonous to you.
over and over and over again. It is always met with one word responses, always, hands down, all the fucking time. And it has not mattered if I'm clean shaven or I have a full beard. It has not mattered if I'm wearing contacts or I have glasses or what kind of glasses I am wearing. It doesn't matter if I have hair or I don't have hair. Both of the girlfriends I have had in my entire life were results of basically social media, finding them on apps. The first girlfriend was found in 2006 on fucking MySpace. We just so happened to end up going to the same scene shows in 2006, 2007 and getting together over time.
That's right. I mean, you threw it out there and she just happened to say yes. That's it. But you're not with this girl anymore, are you? It didn't last. Right. Because it's all on a lark, you know?
It helped that I had a vehicle and her druggy ass friends wanted to be driven around places.
Servitude, exactly. Exactly. That was part of the bribe. It's no different from buying the girl a drink or buying dinner or whatever. It's always a bribe, Ray. If they were interested in us, we wouldn't need to bribe them. So she was using you. Right.
The second girl, it was a college social group that Facebook interaction in said social group that then led to her coming over and just drinking with me. Whoa, shocker. That relationship ended with her finding someone more fun and older that could provide more entertainment.
There you go. Exactly. Exactly. We're all just dispensable, right? Disposable in that regard, right? Where was the love? So she hooked up with you and she didn't love you, right? So women are not about romance. They never were.
Shocker. No one is meeting in real life. I never have had a positive social interaction in real life, ever. Not once with a female. And I'm going to get a ton of hate comments on this. Oh, you just a negative Nancy. You're just negative. You need to be more positive. You need to change everything about yourself, and then people will be more receptive to you. I'm telling you, I have tried no glasses. I have tried every different type of glasses. I have let my beard grow crazy. I've kept it clean shaven all the time. I have kept it at a number 2 for months.
Yeah. We've all been there, Ray. We've tried everything without coming to the simple conclusion that why would I try so much if they were actually interested in us in the first place? Right? You ever notice that if you want to hang with some woman, she doesn't actually have to do much? She doesn't have to come with the right glasses or the right hairstyle or anything. She might look better in a different hairstyle than the one she's got, but we take them, right?
Months on end, perfectly groomed. It doesn't matter what I wear. It doesn't matter where I go. It doesn't matter how I interact. If I'm aloof and angry and acting like I don't want anything to do with the other people, no responses. If I'm affable and laughing and having fun and smiling, nothing. Doesn't matter. This is just like, this is more proof that everyone lives in a different reality than I do. And I'm just a fucking alien on Earth.
Or you're just being gaslit. People are just lying to you.
It's like that Blink 182 video, Alien Exists, where the guy is going through the high school party at the house and he's an alien. Except in my version, no one actually likes me. Open-ended questions work best. Like asking when someone likes about the place you're finding them or where you brought them there. Dating coach. He's a dating coach. He'll tell you how to get the girl. Just pay $4,000 for a coaching call, and he'll tell you to shave.
It's true. Dating coaches are scammers. That's all there is.
I'm sorry. This normie conformie shit is it's just bullshit.
Well, actually, you know what happens? That dating coach scams ordinary guys, becomes wealthy on their money, then he dates because he gains wealth. See, that's how it works, Ray.
None of this works. None of this works. There's no method to what a woman deems as creepy or not. Let's keep reading. Let's finish this out and find out. In some cases, depending on where you are, it can also be helpful to use your surroundings. This is particularly easy if there is something obvious going on around you. I was in Waterloo a few years ago, and a lot of trains had been canceled. I fancied McDonald. Who uses fancied in normal parlance? I fancied McDonald's, but the queue was so long I didn't want to risk missing the one
Hey, this woman's a class act. She loves her McDonald's.
train going out. So I just grabbed a boring sandwich. What's on? Who are you? A guy walked
She's a typical woman. What are you talking about? This is what they are. Right?
into the carriage with the McDonald's bag, and I just said, is this a fucking Mary Poppins character? Like, what is this? Am I reading goddamn Lord of the Rings, fucking Harry Potter, except not interesting? You have no idea how jealous I. Okay, here we go. A guy walked into the carriage with a McDonald's bag, and I just said, "You have no idea how jealous I am right now." Not only did he give me a cheeseburger, but we carried on chatting through the journey. I hate this.
Hey, Ray, is this story going to end up with her banging this guy? I bet not. So who gives a shit if they chatted? As a guy, who gives a shit if they chatted?
I knew, I knew that my face at the beginning, like I was doing that as a joke, like a ha ha ha, this is what I'm getting myself into thing here. And lo and behold, here we are. Remember that episode of The Office where Jim and Pam were fighting and Andy was trying to figure out how to ask out a girl or something, and Pam and Jim were both giving him the like blue pill normie, it worked for me, it'll work for you bullshit advice. And Andy just basically gets really, really fed up and just says, and two hot people who have perfect chemistry wouldn't understand. And it's like, yeah, this interaction, okay, first of all, I don't think it actually happened. For example, I was in Waterloo a few years ago and the trains had been canceled. I fancied McDonald's, but the queue was so long, I didn't want to risk missing the one train going out. A guy walked into the carriage with a McDonald's bag, and I just said, "You have no idea how jealous I am right now." Not only did he give me a cheeseburger, but we carried on chatting through the journey. Are you?
He also got, notice she got free food without having to stand in line. Uh, can a guy get away with that? If you said to some guy, or even, you know, well, I mean, if you had said, "Hey, dude, I am jealous of your sandwich," you'd said, "Yeah." You would say, "Too bad you weren't smart enough to get in line," right? So this guy was bribing her to do what? To get what? Just to get some conversation, and that's it. Think about that.
You kidding me? They literally just want food. They
Right.
literally just want food.
That's right. Men are a means to an end, Raymond. They don't want us.
They just want fed. No, no, no mention of
She tolerated this guy because he bribed her with a cheeseburger. And what he got in turn is her company for a little while. No knocking boots.
no, and she ate her cheeseburger and just chatted through the journey. No mention of if he blew her brains out. No mention of it blew her back out, not brains, but that too. No,
Exactly. That's my point. This guy didn't really get anything out of their company. Men are willing to pay women just for their attention. Forget about sex, right?
mention of if there was a long-term relationship that
That's why this idea of being on Tinder and just getting laid, even for the guys who it works for, it doesn't work for them. This guy was happy to talk to a woman. Men want women's company, right? And a wham bam, it doesn't work for the guy, right?
ensued. I'm assuming not. I'm assuming she literally just got her fucking cheeseburger and then basically, do you know how expensive those cheeseburgers are? I'm
Yeah. Oh, if they're are they? I don't eat at McDonald's very often, but it sounds like you're saying they're expensive. Yep, that guy was willing to pay a premium price to have this woman chat him up and pretend that she liked him. Right.
oh my god. I can't. Lowest common denominator. Lowest common denominator culture. I
Oh, Ray, what are you talking about? So if this woman was actually good to this guy, it would be high culture. I mean,
My hope for any kind of future is so bleak. I can't.
what are you talking about? Are you saying you have no future as a man if you don't have a woman? I don't have one, and I think my future is better. I see what guys go through with their wives. No, thank you.
If there's something to be careful about, though, it's giving out compliments, particularly those that focus on appearances. I recommend you make it meaningful and specific, suggests clinical psychologist Barbara Santini.
In other words, the ladies have nothing to offer. They have no inner life. They're boring people, and they want to be told otherwise. This is the same reason why women go to church. They want to hear they're never going to die and that they're special.
We're going to listen to a fucking clinical psychologist on how to fucking hit on somebody else. Instead of the usual, you're beautiful, you might say something like, I couldn't help but notice your energy. It's really refreshing. That shows you are noticing more than just their appearance and value their vibe. I value your vibe. Let me tell you, as someone who drove a Pontiac Vibe for 3.5 years, no one values your vibe.
I'm hoping by the end of this, your frustration will turn into my joy, Ray. This is the goal of my video. I'm hoping your frustration will end and you'll be like this guy. I'm glad I don't deal with that anymore. And my life is better for it. Okay?
I, this is exemplative of a complete disassociation in motivation systems. The only positive experience that I've garnered out of this article from this woman is that she met a guy that was not ugly enough to be heinously repulsive on a train, who just so happened also to be carrying a bag of McDonald's with him. Oh, and then gave her his lunch.
He might have actually been ugly though, because she was hungry. He had what she wanted, and all they did was chat. She didn't spread her legs for him. So Ray, it may not have been looks might have not have been a factor, right? It's just the bride price was right.
That was the positive dating experience that I've gotten out of this fucking article from Olivia Petters, Miss Priss, Miss Perfect here.
It's amazing you actually got something positive. I said, I see nothing positive about gaslighting. Getting gaslit.
Oh, I don't have her anymore pulled up. From Miss Perfect here is a cheeseburger on a train. You've got to be kidding me. That's what's dictated as not creepy. Giving her lunch. I
He didn't want anything out of her other than chatting, than her attention, right? Uh, Women find male sexuality disgusting, Ray. So when they say creepy, in other words, you wanted sex or something sexual, and that grouses them out. Women might get horny for men, but they still find us disgusting.
guys, coupled with this and a 60% divorce rate and the stats that literally like what 4% of men are happily married, probably less, and less than
Happily married means the woman hasn't booted him yet. It's far, far fewer than 4%. I think I know one happily married couple in all the family. I think one, and they just get along well. That's it. Right. I know one. Uh, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, all it means is that the woman hasn't booted the man. She still tolerates him. That's all happiness means. It's not real happiness. There's no real bliss there.
Than 2.5% of women are marriage material. And the proliferation of
All women are marriage materials. Ray, the only reason the guy's with a woman is because she rejected him. Now, don't get me wrong. There are women that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. But let's be real about this. Uh, Men shack up with women that end up being toxic all the time. Men take what they can get. Okay.
single mothers. I mean, total proliferation of single mothers in society. Every single woman over 25 years old has a kid.
They want it that way. If they didn't want to be a single mother, they wouldn't be.
If they are attractive, they have a child. If they don't, they've had numerous procedures. Hint, hint, if you know what I mean. We can't, this is not, you want to talk about sustainability. Stuff's going to.
Now, this is something I got to correct you on, Ray. Right. I'm all on board with you if you say, the dating scene's 100% frustrating. And I'm frustrated as a man. But let's not bring up the old societal collapse. Guys who are actually having some luck, they don't talk about society collapsing.
Stop working in 20 years, maybe 10. It's just gonna get worse. Everything about society is just going to get worse.
Sorry, dude. I gotta say, there are things that are getting worse for society. Men's rights are being stripped away. That's how it's getting worse. But this idea that, I'm not getting in with one of these toxic relationships, that means things are going to get worse. That has to be thrown in the trash.
We're already at a zero trust society. It's just going to get worse. I really wish I could just, on a baseline, forget me ever having sex again. Forget me ever meeting somebody. Forget me bitching about dating and relationships and talking about them ad nauseum. Just forget, decouple that from your reality. Like, I understand I'm low hanging fruit. It's easy to make fun of me because I look the way I do and I choose not to try to look like Mr. David Priest, the day.
You look like an ordinary guy. Why would I make fun of that? You're very typical. You're not particularly ugly. You're not strange looking, right? Okay.
Coach. But things like at a fundamental societal level, things are going to stop working in not so long from now because we have demolished the incentive structure.
How have you demolished? Right? By incentive, like you talked about that guy bribing her with some food. You're saying men can't bribe women anymore? I mean, you're right, but that's not really destroying society. It just means men aren't getting any kind of attention from women.
We've demolished the incentive structure. A cheeseburger on a train. A cheeseburger on a train. And like, we're going to keep going through this article. It's not even worth keeping on going. Oh, let's look at the last paragraph and then I'll give you my closing thoughts. Ultimately, though, being able to do this successfully boils down to self-esteem. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit. Absolute
Gaslighting, exactly.
malarkey. I'm calling absolute bullshit, Miss Olivia Petters. Which is why snappy chat up lines generally don't work and serve only as WhatsApp group fodder. After all, if we feel like our killer line has snared a new partner, then what happens when we don't have this kind of toolbox available, says Counselor Georgia Sturmer. When we feel comfortable with ourselves inside and out, we are far more likely to be able to be authentic and comfortable when we are out dating. Bear all
Just be yourself, bro.
this in mind next time you find yourself in the wild, and hopefully you'll have some success, or at least enough to stop you from asking anyone if they come here often. What a useless person and useless. And I just,
She enjoyed spitting on men, dude. When she was talking to men, she was saying, yeah, you, you peasants know your place, right? And she's enjoying the sadism of gaslighting, right?
okay. Dating aside, like I was saying, dating aside, people hooking up, relationships, forming families aside, stuff is like,
Forming families just means the girl said yes. That's it. You know, if guys really valued families, when the wife divorced and estranges him from the man from the family, he would take action and say, "No, I want the kids all to my own. I want to look after the kids. You pay child support." He doesn't do that. I know the courts are biased, wouldn't let it happen, but he doesn't even think about that. He doesn't give a shit about the children any more than the wife does. He just wants her, right?
society is just going to keep getting worse. You have to have a sexual incentive, a biological sexual incentive. And if no one is getting together, only if you're like a not creepy guy on a train. The only thing I got from this article was basically be hot and have a cheeseburger with you at all times.
Not even be hot, dude. Just have the right bribe. He just happened to have a right bribe. Uh, she just happened to want a cheeseburger. That's it. You know, if she didn't feel like having a cheeseburger that day, he wouldn't have been talking to her.
I, I,
Frustrating, isn't it?
I can't. I, I want you to know I don't read these articles before I start them. And I want the reactions to be authentic and fresh. And I knew I kind of had a suspicion of what I was getting into when I started reading this. But God,
It's shocking, isn't it?
Olivia, you just lived up to the lowest common denominator possible. I mean,
I still don't know what you mean by that, right? I mean, she's actually just being truthful with her gaslighting, right? Like she's saying, look, well, I'm not interested in men other than what they're useful for, what they can bring. I love gaslighting, I love dangling bait in front of the men and see them get frustrated. I mean, I don't know if that's the lowest common denominator, but it is a common denominator. Guys should like take the hint, right?
what a giant pulp piece of crap.
Yes, thank
I
you.
mean, I got a half an hour out of it. Thank you for that. There you go, fellas. Be hot and have cheeseburgers readily available.
Okay. Like I say, Ray, hopefully you see this video You take from it so that your life can be better. I mean, that's what I like about your channel. It seems to be discussion about life in general and how we can make it better for ourselves. I like that. And this is my contribution to yours. Thank you.